Hey everybody, welcome. Today is Saturday. Do you know what that means? That tomorrow is Sunday. Haha, did you expect something profound? My name is Jeff and I am a full-time reseller. And I know I've been away. I've just been so busy. I'm going to give you an update as to what I've been doing, kind of like a life update. Then we're going to talk about some eBay stuff and kind of see where it goes. Like I've got, a lot of things have happened with eBay over the last 10 days. Earnings came out. I don't know if I'm going to talk about it this video. I'm still kind of waiting. There was an initial move down and now it's kind of slowly climbing back and recovering those losses, but it's kind of in no man's land. But the conference call was a joke. I mean, it was just a lot of patting on the back, and it was a lot of detached from reality statements. It's like we hear, it's just a lot of adjectives. It's like hype. It's like one big hype beast. I love that word, hype beast. Jamie is like such a hype beast for eBay, but there's an element of irrationality, and it's a lot of colorful language that says absolutely nothing. And it's kind of like when you work. So, back when, I was going through college, I worked in factory settings. And it's like, you've got the laborers, which is kind of like what we are. And then you've got management. And when you're a laborer and management, they like to talk a good talk, make everything sound like everything's expanding and everything's roses. And we've got plans to do this. And we've got, magical innovations that are going to come along and save the company. And when you're done with that meeting and you walk out and you go back and you talk to your fellow workers and you're kind of like, that was just a bunch of garbage, right? And that's the sense that I got from the conference call. Like it was just a bunch of garbage. It was just a bunch of colorful adjectives talking about a bunch of things that in reality don't really even affect us resellers. It doesn't even affect the majority of the people involved who make eBay what it is. And let's face it, the sellers make eBay what it is. And it's just another slap in the face. But yeah, and it gave me an idea, and I don't know if I'll ever get around to doing it, but it did give me an idea for a future video I would like to make. I have lots of ideas on things that I want to make. I just don't have the time right now. And I'm a reseller, right? Like 99.5% of my income comes from reselling, and it's not even all of that on eBay anymore. In fact, that number is decreasing with each week. It feels like yesterday I outsold eBay local. I think I did 150 local. I did 100 on eBay, and it's a recurring theme. Local sales for me, saving my butt. So yeah, and I'll talk about that in maybe a little bit in this video, maybe a little bit in the next video. It's something that's it's not going away. In fact, I'm constantly, things that I never would have listed a year ago on local, I'm finding an audience for it. Things I list on both platforms, they sell faster on local. And like I said, we'll get into a little bit of all that. A life update though. Maria had an opportunity she could not pass up. She is back to work and couldn't be happier because of the kind of work that she's doing. It's impactful, it's meaningful, it's important work, what she's doing on a social level. It's very fulfilling for her. She was sought after by this company. And you know, when you get a job and you're chased after and you're respected in your chosen profession, it makes a lot of difference. And so our bedtimes have been completely flip-flop now. Now we go to bed early, and now I wake up early. Like today, I was up at 8, and that was sleeping in for me. So probably no more midnight videos for a while, because I don't really want to mess up my sleep schedule, but I am finding that I am more productive these days. And you know, I'll always be a night owl at heart, but for now, it's I'm finding some renewed excitement about, you know, when she's at work, I'm focused. I'm able to stay focused, less distractions. I'm able to work, and we've got a big July coming. Our daughter is coming with the baby and her husband in Australia. We also have a new addition to our family at that point in time. Our daughter's stepsister. It's a convoluted mess. I can't remember if I mentioned this, but our daughter's stepsister, no, not stepsister, half sister, is coming to live with us, and then our other daughter, Ashley, who basically adopted her half sister, is her and her partner are moving to Calgary, but they're going to be coming back for July and staying with us when our daughter with the baby is going to be here. So we're going to have 2 daughters, 2 partners, a baby, and an 18-year-old girl who's going to be staying with us. So, who I won't be surprised if she tries to finagle herself into one of my videos. She has a very outgoing personality. So yeah, so all of that's happening, and in preparation for that, there's just a ton of work to be done in the place. I mean, you know as well as I know, as a reseller, when there's an empty room, you fill it. So I'm trying to get rid of some stuff local, like not liquidate, but I'm giving some deals, especially when it's bigger and bulkier. But there's a lot of stuff that I hadn't got to yet either, which I'm trying to get to, trying to take care of that, trying to get rooms organized, trying to get my storage area organized, and all the while listing, you know, with eBay being the way that it is. There's just a lot more work that's involved. It's not as simple as, you know, waking up, checking your orders, fulfilling them, listing, and then calling it a day. There's Marketplace. I've got multiple Marketplace accounts, Craigslist, listing on Etsy, still somewhat, you know, listing on District when I find a piece that is, you know, I'm trying to make it a really unique marketplace on District. I do have some really cool stuff, just not any sales yet. I did get my second Etsy sale, and it was the Hello Kitty 3-tiered stand that had sold twice on eBay. Neither of those people had paid for it. It was something that I paid $13 for at Value Village. I bought it, didn't know if it was complete. I tried so hard to get north of 300 for it. I ended up getting 256, and I'm more than happy selling it. If I had a choice between selling it for 256 on eBay or Etsy, I'm taking Etsy 100% of the time, because we all know, or at least we theorize, that eBay caps our earnings, they cap our page views, they cap our impressions. And so if I would have sold it on eBay, then I'd have been done for the day, probably would have had a crap next couple days. So anytime I can sell something big like that off of eBay, I'll do that 10 times out of 10. That way other stuff can sell on eBay. It never used to be like that. It never used to feel like we can only sell a finite amount before eBay is like, nope, that's it. No more views for you. No views for you. No more views. So I was happy to get that sale. and she seemed like a lovely person, paid right away, no issues whatsoever there. But other than that, you know, I still maybe only have less than 20 listings on Etsy, so it's going to be a slow grow on there for me, because a lot of my items are not, a lot of my larger items that I want to put on Etsy, meaning like larger priced items, are not over 20 years old. And because of, I'm not really that crazy about the way their structure is. I would rather it be a subscription model, and then I could just list unlimited. So with Etsy, I need to be a little bit more careful, because I don't want to run up too many. I don't want to have like things listed for more than 4 months or multiple 4-month periods and keep being charged with that. So I'm still kind of playing with that, and so seeing where that goes. This is probably going to be a longer video, so hopefully you grab some coffee, grab some tea, and settle in, because I haven't done a video for a while, and I've got notes, but I also have like a lot of things floating in my head. Literally, I had just sat down. It just feels like every time I go to make a video, something happens, whether I get a call or something on eBay I got to deal with, or I get a local sale that I got to kind of like figure out. I've got some cool fun stories to share, and but first, I want to plug Carl's video, and I'm gonna include a link below, and I want to encourage everybody to go and watch it. So I mean, you can watch the whole video if you want, but the part of the video that I really want you to focus on is from minute 17:30 to minute 24:30. So it's like a 7-minute stint. I feel like this is his best. I feel like this is one of the best segments, or it's not like a segment per se, but it felt like it was something that really came from the heart about eBay. And I feel like he nails a lot of points of where eBay has been falling short for its sellers. And I know he is struggling, as I know a lot of people are struggling. And I couldn't say what he said any better. And if you like my content, if you've been a longtime viewer, it is like everything kind of like how I feel. The one thing I would add in it, he gives an analogy of how eBay is like, it's like you're playing poker with eBay, and they're your opponent. And I would actually maybe take it a little bit further, because I do feel like we fight with eBay as sellers, and it shouldn't be that way. Like, we should be in alignment for the same goals, whereas it feels like eBay has their agenda, and it doesn't really often align with us, which is nuts if you think about it, because we're supposed to be on the same team. I would say eBay is the house, and they rig it so they win all the time, or at the very least, they don't get damaged in any way. But I would also argue the fact that the things that they are doing to sellers on the platform are causing sellers to leave. It's like the poker players are going to go take their chips and go play in another casino. But everything that he says within that 7-minute stint is just bang on. And the guy, nobody works harder at YouTube than him, in my opinion, and his channel deserves a little bit of love, in my opinion. It's definitely something that I watch daily, and I don't watch a whole lot of reseller content these days. There's a few channels that I watch, but I've been catching up on my Netflix while I'm listing, and my football podcast that I listen to. And so there's that I wanted to say. I think I started saying that I was just about to make a video and I spilled water everywhere, like literally everywhere. And it's like I'm trying to, like, I I had things staged here on my desk, and I'm listening. I'm like trying to protect it, trying to not get anything wet, which nothing got damaged, but that's just the way it has been with me making a video, you know. And I know Maria's gonna be walking in the door any minute now, so I'm gonna pause this and then I'll finish it a little bit later. She was at a fundraising thing today all day, so I know she's gonna be exhausted. The weather is beautiful. It is garage sale season. It is the best time of the year if you're a reseller, in my opinion. But, you know, it's tough when you're not making the regular sales. You know, to be honest with you, we're not all going to make it through this period in time. We're really not. You know, I struggle. Another reason why I haven't made videos is I don't have a lot of like positive things to say about eBay. So I'm trying to, you know, I'm trying to take that age-old advice. If you got nothing good to say, don't say anything at all. And, you know, there's been a lot of low-hanging fruit that people can make videos. People have made videos about, you know, the shipping address debacle that eBay really took no accountability for. I know Jack had an order that got canceled because of that, even though he had checked with the buyer to make sure that the address was correct. And I wasn't really affected, at least not that I know of yet. And but I mean, that was just a disaster. And it was just like, oh, notification from eBay, you know, or you know, this happened. Oh well, you know, like no accountability. You know, you make a sale. eBay sends the buyer a chance to find it at a lower price. Okay. Just helping Maria unload the car. She brought some pizza home. Shoved the piece in my mouth. Where was I? The whole your buyer buys something off you. I don't know how that all works. You know, then eBay gives you a chance to match it. But in my opinion, that is complete rubbish. Like, I don't know how are they even seeing a lower price? I will really need some more information about how that whole process works. Like, do they buy it? And then do they, like, how do they even come across a lower item? But, you know, there's a lot of factors to be involved here. It hasn't happened to me yet. I really doubt that I would match it. I would just rather let someone else race to the bottom. I'll relist it. Like, I don't need a sale that bad that I need to, you know, it really depends. Like, was it a promoted listing? Did I already give them a deal? Now they want more of a deal? No. You know, and now with Maria back to work, that just takes a tremendous amount of pressure off me for having to, like, you know, make X amount of sale. Yeah, obviously, I have my own internal goals that I want to hit, but I just don't see how it's actually possible to hit those goals with eBay anymore. It feels like so many of our listings, that's just where they go to die. As sad as it is, I don't understand what the platform is doing anymore. I feel extremely disconnected from it. Yeah, I did want to give you guys a tip for Facebook Marketplace. I've talked about Marketplace in the past and how AI is rampant on there. And here's what I have found. So I listed something a couple weeks ago, and it was a black shirt, and I had taken some pictures, and I don't have like a setup. I don't have like one of those fancy setups for stuff, for shirts and clothing, because I don't sell enough of it. I don't really even actively seek out clothing to buy. I have gotten a bunch of it from people moving away, and they just give me all their stuff. So you know, I do have bags and bags of it. But it was one of those deals where I'd taken pictures of it, and sometimes it looked black and other times it looked gray. And so I created a listing on eBay, and in the description box, I was trying to kind of like avoid any kind of confusion about the color. And I was like, you know, the pictures in the first two pictures are really more reflective of what the actual color, the shading of the color black was. And then I thought, oh, well, I'll list this on Marketplace. So I did that, and I just copied the title, copied the description, and it was immediately flagged by Marketplace as, how did they describe it? Somebody's here for Marketplace. I'll be right back. All right. That has been my life. I've just been that busy. It's just like one thing after another. The sale did not go through. It was the wrong size. Another good reason to sell local, because you're not going to deal with returns. This would have been my fault. I measured it wrong. I'm not a car guy. I'm not a handy guy. I was measuring the exterior, where you got to actually turn it on the back and measure that round thing on the back to get the size. So they'll sell. There's always a need. It's crazy. There's always. I listed it, and I had 3 people message me within like the first 35 minutes of listing it, and I had a misspelling in the title. Like, I don't even know how they found it. Anyhow, which spins off another tangent in my head, that with rising fees cost, rising shipping and handling costs, the hassles of online selling with some of these platforms, you know, I do believe that we are going to see over the next couple years a resurgence of local, like a renaissance of local selling. Just a hunch, especially, you know, but it takes time. It takes time to build a presence. I'm thankful that I started last year around this time. So it's taken me a year of just actively listing and developing the processes to just make it more seamless. You know, I still list most everything on eBay. Not everything. Like, if it's too big, bulky, no. But like, yeah, you just would be surprised what you can sell local. So anyhow, so I was talking about Facebook. I was talking about, so I had that listing. I made it on eBay, published it, copy and pasted on the Facebook, and it was flagged for, I want to say it was like misrepresentation, which is ironic because I was trying to be like super clear on, you know, I was trying to be as descriptive as possible, and it got flagged, and I appealed it, and it got denied. It's like, I don't know what they thought, but I think because AI registered that there were 2 different things in there. So my advice is, when you're listing things on Marketplace, be as, not vague, but write as little as you can. So there's no chance of any contradiction. There's no chance of words that you might never think would get flagged will get flagged by Marketplace AI. Because I don't know what that magic number is of having X amount of listings taken down by Marketplace before you lose your Marketplace account. I hope I never find it. But I'm guessing there's a number where people lose their Marketplace access, and that would be a massive blow to me. That's why I have, you know, multiple accounts. I'm hoping that they're not linked in any way, but I just, you know, I've never listed anything under the guise of trying to, you know, sell something illegal or sell something that I shouldn't be selling, and yet I've had things taken down in the past. It's really few and far between now because I'm super careful. Anything that I'm even remotely on the fence at, I won't list on Marketplace. I'll list on Craigslist, which leads me to another suggestion that you may never considered, and why you should be listing on Craigslist. I can't remember if in my last video I talked about, I listed some astrology notes. I think it was in the last video. I listed some notes, like 8 pounds of notes from a personal person's library, like notes they had taken, and I listed it on eBay and I listed it on Craigslist, and that was an example of something that I didn't feel comfortable listing on Marketplace. But that same day or the next day that I listed it, somebody from Seattle discovered it and he ended up buying it. And that's not the first time that I've had listings on Craigslist. I've sold a Polly Pocket playset to somebody in Texas that I had listed on Craigslist. It was under the recall things. It had like little magnets in it that you couldn't sell on eBay. It literally gave you a hard stop, which is nice. It's nice that it did that instead of like I listed it and then I get like a Vero or something like that. I've had a painting that I sold to somebody in Arizona. I sold something to somebody in I want to say Quebec or something like that. But people do search nationally on Craigslist. So if you have really super expensive items that you have listed on eBay, and list them on Craigslist as well. You just never know when you're going to get a hit. The name of the game in reselling is visibility. It didn't used to be. It never used to be an issue with eBay, but last April the algorithm changed, and the next thing I want to talk about is I struggle with whether or not, if eBay did something nefarious and they're trying just simply, everything that they have done has been with the sole purpose to funnel us into promoted listings, to get us to pay them more. Or, let me add to that. Is that why they throttle our listings, hide our listings, suppress them in search? Because search is still a mess. It is a disaster. In fact, sometimes I think eBay has ADHD because they're always tinkering, and they never finish what they started. It's like, oh, search is a mess. Instead of fixing that, they're like, oh, let's add pictures to feedback. Oh, let's, I don't know, do this or do that. Let's do this magical innovation. Let's add this feature. Let's, do that thing where somebody makes an offer, you accept it, but it still shows as being a lie. I don't like that at all. In theory, it sounds nice, but I don't know. Like when I accept an offer, I like it to show up in my solds. I don't like it to like not be anywhere, and then it still be. I feel like there's room for things to happen there. Instead of like fixing the things that are the most essential. Search is the most essential to an online reseller. If people see my items, they sell. If eBay chooses to not show my items or not have them be visible or whatever, sorry, I just want to make a note to talk about something. Then that's going to be, in my opinion, that's going to be their loss, because they are pushing people to Crosslist. They are pushing people away from the platform. It's a fact at this point. You see it in YouTubers who you would never have suspected that they would feel the need to Crosslist because they have such large audiences, and you think, oh, they're so successful on eBay. But if they're cross-listing, I don't need to say who. There's nothing. You guys know who I'm talking about. I mean, it's not even that I'm talking about any one person. It's just, who isn't diversifying at this point? That would probably be an easier list to compile. And that's got to be hurting eBay in the bottom line. Like, yeah, I could say, eBay has lost out in a lot of sales for me over the past 6 to 8 months, and I'm just one person, and I'm just a small time reseller. But when you extrapolate that across tens of thousands of resellers, why do you think their GMV is flat? Why do you think they're not really showing any growth? Yeah, okay, so let me go back to, is eBay nefarious in terms of the tactics that they're using? Are they using Amazon type tactics, which are nefarious? It's been well documented. Why do you think the FTC is going after them? eBay is nefarious. Amazon is nefarious in their tactics. It's been documented. Whether or not eBay is nefarious, it feels like it at times. Or is it the economy? Because I see it with local sellers. Like I see it with, like I get low ball offers, and then I counter and then they just go away, or I get low ball offers and I'm not even going to counter. People always trying to get like another $10 off of something. I would say that's the one thing I hate about local sales, is it's always in increments of like $5 or $10. It's never like two. You list something for 25, and it just feels funny when somebody offers you 20 and you're like, oh, I'll do 22. I've done it, but it feels funny. Or is it just a combination of both, right? But then I had this thought the other day. I had this thought that in my mind at the time felt like it crystallized and gave me the answer. And what that thought was, if it was the economy, right, that was the real driver behind the slow sales, no sales days, low visibility. Well, not really low visibility. Just if the economy was as bad as it feels like when you look at your sales numbers, which I'm down. So my account's back to being down like 5.6%. Maria's is down, I believe, like 3%. I believe we would still be getting a lot more buyer-initiated offers, lowball offers. Now think about this. I would say before April of last year, things were, and I had never sent offers prior to that. I didn't even know that feature existed. That's how much of an island I existed on. I didn't know about end and sell similar. I never watched YouTube videos. I just kind of went about my business. But before then, I would feel like I got a lot of buyer-initiated offers. And some of them were lowball offers. You're always going to have people fishing. But I feel like the percentage of sales that I make now are so small that from buyer-initiated offers, just somebody making you an offer. And even in the crappiest of economies, right? People still want to buy. They still want to make purchases. They still want to feel, have that feel good of like buying, shopping online, finding something that they want, sending a lowball offer, hoping it gets accepted. And when it gets accepted, yes, sucker. And then the anticipation of getting said thing in the mail, right? So if the economy was the sole reason for all these shenanigans, all the conspiracy theories that people, put out there, myself included, or and then other people, oh, he's just a conspiracy theorist. If none of those theories were valid, I think we would still be getting a ton. I think we might even be getting more buyer-initiated offers, lowball offers. What do you guys think about that? Like, and in that moment, it got me thinking, like, okay, then it has to be eBay, right? It has to be that we know something changed in the algorithm. So then I guess the question is it something nefarious, or is it a consequence of the change that they've made? somebody made, I do have a couple comments that I want to get to from the last video. I don't think I saved this comment, but somebody made a comment about, and I know Biff Buffalo has talked about this, other, like if you put your store out there and people are browsing it and not buying, that's harmful to one's store. I don't really care at this point. I used to care. I don't care anymore. I care so little. I care so little about eBay in terms of, and I care even less now that I'm not the sole earner. But if they change something and you get impressions without clicks, and then you get page views without purchases, it's possible that the algorithm views your items as worthless and just pushes you to the bottom. So let's segue this into the things that new sellers need to know. The real facts, not like some fluff thing for views. These are like real things that new resellers who are thinking about selling on eBay need to know. Number one, let's start with number one, and we'll see where this goes. Like, I have a few down, and maybe I'll pause it and think about some more. Selling long tail items on eBay in the current environment, I find to be unreliable at best, next to impossible at worst, with no what's the word I'm looking for? Like, well, you can't build a business with an expected type of, like, you can't count on X amount of sales. You'll get sales, right? You'll get sales. Like, I'll show, like, in my next What's Sold video, you're going to see things that sold, which are long tail items. But if you're thinking about joining eBay and building a business on long tail items, you might want to hold off until eBay comes to the realization that they have effed this whole algorithm up, and it's not beneficial to screw sellers as bad as they have. That would be number one. And then, so that leaves the idea of, well, what can you sell? I mean, obviously you can sell things that have high sell-through rate. Like, that's an obvious. But sometimes you don't know what the high sell-through rate is. So, for example, I listed an ATV kind of like remote controlled car yesterday. It was my brother-in-law's, part of that lot that I was just given. And I listed it on eBay, and I listed it on Marketplace and Craigslist. I really didn't want to sell it on eBay. I listed it as untested, 4 parts. It was in great shape. It probably worked. The remote control, which is kind of shaped like a gun, and then you put the batteries in the back. The backing was missing. I ended up selling it. I in less than 18 hours, I got an offer, and I countered, and I sold it for $75. And I think that's my only sale of the day for today. Yesterday I had 7 sales. I think the day before that I had 13. Today I have 1. I have 1 on eBay. It's a good sale. But does that mean that my other 8,000 items are not desirable? No, not at all. Because I promise you, they'll sell. But there's just, and if I have high sell-through rate stuff, I'm not selling it on eBay. I don't. Why would I? I would rather sell it local and not pay eBay's commissions. I would rather sell local. And think about this too, is if you have something that is very desirable and you want to sell it local, you can actually charge what it's worth plus a little bit of a premium to account for if someone needs to buy this online. You can actually make that money on the shipping. Because if something's worth $100 and $10 shipping, and that's kind of like the high sell, that's kind of like the going rate for something, charge $110. They're gonna have to pay that anyhow. Put that extra money in your pocket, or at least have that be the wiggle room for negotiations. Number 2 thing that you need to know as a person considering selling on eBay, you're going to be paying higher fees. You're going to be paying higher fees in the form of promoted listings. That Hello Kitty thing that I sold on Etsy, I don't know why, I don't know how, but my selling fees on a $256 item was only $17. When I think about what I would have paid my selling fees on eBay, it would have been closer to $50, I think. So I'm extremely, so in a way, if I think about the money that I saved selling it on Etsy versus if I would have sold it for that same amount, because I remember I sold it for $300 and I sold it for like $260. If I would have sold it for $260 on eBay, I would have only netted like $210, $205-ish. I don't know, give or take. I don't know what, I think I'm promoting around 4% right now. And so yeah, yay to Etsy. I mean, that was awesome. I don't really understand like their selling fees. I don't understand their version of promoted listings yet. I've only sold 2 things, and neither of those fell under their umbrella of what their promoted listings are. But if you're a new seller, when I tell people who are unfamiliar with eBay, the selling costs that are involved with eBay, it blows their mind. It literally blows their mind. The promoted, I mean, just the regular fees and how it's on the shipping, and then the promoted listing fees, and then how it's on the shipping and on the taxes. And every single person I've ever said that to about the taxes, they're like, how is that even legal? Obviously it is. It just feels so unfair that we're paying on that and on the shipping for promoted listings. I mean, so expect to pay north of 20%. And it's probably only going to get worse. We'll see how that works out for them in 5 years. You know, we'll see how many sellers either stay on the platform, or what percentage of sellers only sell on eBay versus cross-listing. Yeah, I don't know. In fact, I actually, can anybody correct me if I'm wrong here? I think this quarter of earnings, I was a little confused by the earnings, but I actually think their promoted earnings income went down relative to last month, which is a good sign if that's the case. I thought it was going to, you know, I had made a prediction thinking it was going to go up to like over 400 million for the quarter based on how it had been incrementally raising. But I actually think it went backwards like 20 million, which I think is actually pretty interesting. If anybody can confirm that, that would be great. So I don't actually envy anybody thinking about selling on eBay if their long-term plan is to be like a full-time eBay reseller. I really feel like in the current environment where they're just at such a disadvantage. in my opinion. So let's jump into number 3, hassles and headaches. Where do I start? Let me tell you about something that recently happened. A guy bought a Starbucks coffee cup off me. Post office tracking shows it attempted delivery twice. Left a notice. Buyer didn't do anything, didn't pick it up, didn't do anything. It was returned to me. Actually, I don't have it. It was returned. He opens an item not received case. He loses that said case. And, it's just, I had to call the day of to find out how to handle it. I had to call the day before that it ended because I wanted to try to get it escalated because I didn't want to run the risk of eBay, even though I was told by eBay that they were going to side with me, and I just had to call in. It's just I had to call in. One time I called in, got disconnected. I ended up calling 4 times. It was just, it's a hassle. It shouldn't even, it should have been cut and dry. They should have been able to close it the day that I called in, but instead they've got this eBay make it right period, which is, if you're at a standstill between the buyer and the seller, and nothing's going to happen, just take action. So then he loses that. Then he opens, get this, he opens an item not as described case. How is that even an option for him at this point? Now we're in the middle of that. So I don't know how that's going to play out. He never got it. In fact, the eBay rep that I spoke with, they're like, he never actually received it to actually even to see if it was as described. I'm like, yeah. And they're just like, so I had to call in to take care of that. It's like things like this, like processes are never easy. There's so many hassles and headaches with eBay. There's like no common sense with how they conduct business. They want to eliminate jobs to save money. Think of how many man hours. I cannot possibly be the only person to have had things like this happen to me. Think how many man hours they would save if they would have just taken care of that from the very beginning. They would have saved me from having to call in 3 or 4 other times and speaking and tying up other representatives, where these representatives could be helping other people with real problems. So just expect things like that, because that is something that there's always been kind of like head scratcher moments from as long as I remember. And to be honest with you, if that was it, if we weren't having all these other issues, I'm totally okay. I'm okay with glitch being glitch. I'm okay with, playing this, playing these weird procedural dances with eBay. This is what, this is how we do it, even though it makes no sense. I'm okay with that. But when you factor in everything that the reseller community has had to deal with over the last year, it just becomes exhausting. And it just becomes like, you know what? I need eBay, but how can I limit the mental draining that it has on you as a reseller? Okay, so I wasn't kidding when I said that the video was going to be long. The finished video was 67 minutes long. Tried to upload it, wasn't happening. I find that anything over 55 I start to have problems with. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to break this video up into 2 videos. I wanted to have it uploaded and do a premiere on a Saturday night. I thought that would be fun. I don't know. Maybe I'll upload the first part later. We'll see how long it takes. But anyhow, so this is going to be in 2 parts, and you're going to want to watch the next one because you're going to get to meet my youngest daughter. She came on cam. She popped in, and yeah, I think that's going to be cool for you guys to, you know, not all of my family wants to be on cam, but you know, the ones that want to, I'd love to share that part over time. But yeah, I kind of ambushed her. She was coming in, you'll see. But yeah, so thanks for watching. Yeah, I don't know where I'm going to cut it off yet, but this is going to seem abrupt. I apologize. I do tend to ramble, but I did warn you, and I did say that it was going to be a long video. I just didn't know it was going to be in 2 parts. So I might even start filming the rest of it tonight to drop tomorrow, because I'm going to be at a con. I've got now 3 local sales lined up for tomorrow. I've got a DVD player that I paid nothing for. I've got some 6 like Breweriana glasses that I paid, I don't know, a couple bucks for, selling those for 30. And a guy wants to buy a Mexican Aztec ceramic mask that I have. Actually, I'll show you. Because it's kind of cool. I've had it forever. Sorry, I couldn't resist. This and some Dia de los Muertos, like little skull figurines. That lot is $90, and he's looking to maybe add some more Mexican related stuff. I sent him a link, and he's going to check that out. So I already have 135 local tomorrow. That'll be good. That'll be some spending money at the con. But yeah, haven't had any local sales today, but still got a couple hours left. I have a funny story about what happened last night that I'm going to share in the next video, guys. Peace and blessings. Thanks for watching. I appreciate all you guys. And I do apologize for the lengthy delays between videos. You know, sometimes I think, okay, I'm going to challenge myself and do 1 video every day for a week. I don't know if that'll happen or not, but anyhow, peace.